Hey gang, welcome back to another video on the Brooklyn Pony. This will be part 33, I believe, and if you saw the last video, it dealt with fitting of the headlight bezels and making sure that they lined up with the fenders. And so I showed how to modify the fender so that the bezel or extension would fit better to the car. And since then, I've done the finish work on the extension bezel so that it now fits even better to the car, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But in this video, I need to do something else, because one of the comments on part 32 was about the rock guard, and they asked if I was going to do anything to fix the rock guard, because these rock guards aftermarket don't fit well at all. And initially I thought, no, I'm not going to do anything with it because, you know, it's maybe not worth it. And I was kind of thinking that it was going to be behind the bumper. Well, it's not. This will be exposed, and I'll show you more of that in just a second, but I can't live with this. As you know, I get picky on everything that I do, and I want it to look right. And so this car is going to be silver blue, the original factory color. And because of that, anything that is not lined up is going to stand out. I just can't let that go. So I'm going to do some repair work on this rock guard, and I'm going to show you my fix. Now, it may not be conventional, and some people may not like it, but I think it'll be pretty simple, and it'll take care of the problem. So let me show you the rest of this, and we'll go on from there. As I said in the previous video, I showed how I modified the front of the fender so that the extension or bezel would fit better and smoother. And since that time, I've done some finish work to it. I used some body filler, and I made a transition so that now this thing fits very, very well. It's still not going to be, you know, a perfectly tight fit because, well, they didn't come that way. But this is much better than what it looked like. If you go back and see that other video, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And this is the passenger side. Again, body filler, transition, and much, much better. So I'm happy with this and how it looks. Now again, all this is body filler, sanding, and then everything's coated in epoxy, and it'll get more high build primer later. But the concern I have at this point is the fitment here. Let me put some more light on this. See that big corner sticking out? Just can't live with that. It's just going to always stick out. And I'll post some pictures if I can find them of other cars that have, you know, original panels where it's very smooth, the transition's pretty accurate, but this one is just not suitable for my taste. So I'm going to have to do some cutting and some modifying of the rock guard. The lower valance, it fits nice, you know, it lines up on the fenders well, but yeah, that's going to be modified. And here's a look at the driver's side, and again, it doesn't line up the way it should, so I'll probably do some modifications on this side as well, and I'll see what I can come up with. After looking this over, my biggest concern or thought is how I can get this corner over here. And the other part of that is, why is it angled? You can see this is pulled in, and so it's not as easy as, let's say I just wanted to cut it somewhere over here and then stretch this out. That's not going to work because I still have this angle problem. Down here it's pretty close to matching the fender. It's a little bit off, but it's close. I'm thinking probably that what I need to do is cut on this corner and then come down and not get into this portion that's got a shape to it, but come straight down and leave part of this here so that I don't lose the metal, and then pull this out, reshape it to where it matches the fender, and then build a filler piece that'll go inside here. I've thought about other ideas. One was to cut it further in and angle this down as well, and then do the same kind of thing, but I don't think that's going to do exactly what I want. So again, I think I'm going to cut it pretty much on this corner and then come down, and that'll help me, or allow me to manipulate that piece and get it out further where it needs to be. So like I said, the plan is cut these lines, and there's a bit of a overlap here on the back side. Let me show you that. And what I mean is where this corner kind of rolls over on itself. So I'll probably have to cut at an angle across that. Okay, so that moves this out and gets it more flush with the fender. So I want to secure this, so I'm going to tack weld that little flange that I cut into the top portion here. Might take just a few little tacks. Now this is where it gets a little more complicated. Because I cut this and pulled it out, it actually makes this slightly taller than the top of this surface here. So I need to knock down this edge a little bit just to get it closer to being flush with the top piece. And then I'm going to have to work on making a transition. And because of the way this is shaped, this is very complex as far as the shape goes, I may end up doing another cut further along and kind of bringing that piece out a little bit and then working in some patches. So I need to trim this down to make it flush first. So as you can see with that little cut right there, what I want to try to do is just reshape this slightly. And I can use that edge to help push this out a little bit. And I may have to take it off and actually use a hammer and dolly and roll that out. But I think you can probably get the idea of what I'm looking for, because this transition, I can make this line continue on and blend into this, like I'm saying, this line right here, make that continue on out and blend. But this has to come out just a little bit here in the middle. So again, I may have to take this all the way off and use a hammer and dolly to get the shape that I want. Now it's not going to take much to move this metal, so I'm sitting on some plywood that I use to paint the headlight extensions, and all I want to do is just tap on that a little bit and work that shape out to where it matches the other piece. So there it's, hopefully you can see that, a bit closer than it was and very similar to the shape that was there before. Alright, so now you get the idea of what my vision is. I wanted to say also that if you don't have a pair of these are used in the aviation industry, commonly called duckbill pliers. They're really great to manipulate a metal edge. They're usually, you could do stuff with safety wire, a variety of different things, but these are very handy. And what I've done is I was able to manipulate this just a little bit more using these pliers, and it also helped me to line up these two edges because it's nice and flat. So now, with that transition the way I like it, what I need to do is make a little moon filler piece, let's say, for that. And this I can probably weld. I'm not going to try to make a wedge for that, but I'll make a filler piece for that. Sometimes I even surprise myself. I just cut this little piece just kind of as a rough guide, kind of experimenting. Just use some tin snips and some scrap metal. I got the curve almost dead on. So what I want to do here is I'll clean this metal up, bare it down with a sanding disc, and then I'll weld the top edge. I don't mind this being long over here. This overhangs just maybe 1/8 of an inch or so, 3/16 in the middle, because I can take, once I get it attached, I can just sand that down and make it match my contour and then weld it along the edge. Alright, so now that I have it tacked down, I'm going to reshape it with the sanding disc a little bit here. Well, it looks like I had the camera slightly out of place, but what I did was I took the sanding disc, 2-inch, and I went across the edge got it to the shape that I wanted. And I followed that up with just a little bit of hammering work to get the shape tighter, or get the gap tighter. And I also sanded down some of that weld up on top. So now I want to weld these together and also weld this up. Alright, that's as far as I'm going to go. Now I have the alignment that I want. I have the shape that I want. And with a little bit of filler, it's going to be perfect. So I'll have to do this on the other side as well. But now you see one way that you can correct these badly shaped panels. So this will be the end of Brooklyn Pony Part 33. As I've shown in other videos, sometimes you have to be willing to make a cut, make some fillers, make some welds, but in the end, when this is all painted, nobody will notice that. Now, that's what I want. I don't want somebody to look at this car and go, why is that off? If they don't notice it, that means I did it right. So it's still going to take a little bit of filler to do the final shape on this, but very little. And I'm happy with that. I like to say that. Maybe I'll do a t-shirt that says I'm happy with that. That would be cool. Give me some feedback on that. Anyway, I don't know what I'm going to do on the next video. We'll figure that out when I get there, and you'll know at that point as well. So by all means, hit that subscribe button, like, share, all those things. And if you would, leave a comment down below. If you like the video, great. If you don't like the video, that's fine too. But the more things get commented on and stuff like that, the more they get played. And it's just one of those YouTube algorithm things. And don't forget, I do have an Amazon account set up. So if you want to click through that, you can use that account to help me generate a little bit of money. And I'll post a link to that as well. And that'll be it. So again, thanks for watching, thanks for being here, and until next time, take care of yourselves. Now when this is all done, I will use a little filler to finish shaping this prior to any other filler. If you would, hit that subscribe button,